Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Welcome to Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Well, folks, good afternoon. Good morning. Whatever part of the world you are, welcome to Edification 250 on this our first Sunday of 2025. Happy New Year once again to one and all. May this calendar year bring you the actual level of consciousness that you deserve, where you will value your health so that you take all necessary steps to ensure that you watch your diet and all that you consume, because your diet is not just what goes into your mouth, but by way of your associations and your indulgences. I invite you to join me to wish for the things that really matter for 2025 as our lives draw close to the end. You see, after all, we must realize that for a lot of us, our turn is here to pass on. And we should not be content to live the same way that we have lived, getting the same results, and just wishing things would change without putting in the work to contribute to the change that we desire. You see, my wish for you is that you seek health to pursue your dreams, assuming, of course, that you have dreams, strength to pursue life's battles, and God knows there will be a lot of them, motivation to reach your goals, changing your language so that you can give the same life you give to the language that does not work for you right now to the one that will work for you as you proceed. What about serenity? Serenity for the uncertainties, that ability to remain calm in the face of adversities, and above all, to be closer to our God, our maker of this universe. After all, life isn't easy. Whoever told you that, folks? They lied. And they lied in a brazen way at that. They just lied and made you feel that life is going to be a bed of roses. Oh no. Life is what you make it. And we don't get out of life what we deserve, folks. We get out of life what we are. Some days seem overwhelming. I trust that God sees our struggles, collect our tears, and never abandon us. This new year, I want for you to join me to walk with faith. Trust more and let God guide your steps. No matter the challenges, I believe with Him, we can overcome anything. It is on this strength that I declare 2025 as the year of health, prosperity, and abundant blessings. Come on, folks. Put in the comment section, I receive, I receive, I receive. Let's all spread hope and faith to make this year truly transformative in spite of the annoying naysayers. Goodly folks, as soon as you come into the room today, please share, comment, like, love, and just interact as you usually do. Great to be with you once more. Great to be in the land of the living. Our angel number is 250. And you see 2, 5, and 0, they're a combination of the vibrations of the numbers. These digits carry different energies and offer a deeper understanding of the meaning behind angel number 250. In numerology, the number 2 represents balance, harmony, and partnerships. It signifies your need for balance in all aspects of your life, both personal and, of course, professional, and encourages you to build strong relationships with those around you. The number 5 is associated with major life changes, positive opportunities, and personal freedom. This number encourages you to be adaptable and resourceful in order to take advantage of new opportunities that arise in your life. Of course, the number 0 represents a clean slate, new beginnings, and endless potential. It is a reminder that you have the power to manifest your desires and create your own reality. Our topic for today is in the form of an affirmation, an affirmative kind of, chant for 2025 and beyond. I must be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others will not have tomorrow. You see, this quote highlights the value of effort, discipline, and sacrifice in achieving long-term success. It suggests that achieving something extraordinary often requires going beyond what most people are willing to do in the present moment. You see, by putting in extra effort now, whether in work, personal growth, or perseverance, you set yourself up to attain results that others might not achieve in the future. But you have to invest in yourself by doing what? Minding your own goddamn business. You see, if you keep carrying old bricks, you will build the same house. In the same way, if you keep on doing what you're doing, you will not get a different result. You will only prove yourself as insane, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. You see, if you continue to hold on to past habits, beliefs, and experiences, those old bricks, in other words, you will keep creating the same outcomes, the same house, in other words. To build something new or better, you need to let go of the old patterns and adopt fresh approaches. It is a reminder to release what no longer serves you in order to grow and create a different future. Stop focusing your attention on people who are so focused that their achievements fuel your envy and your jealousy. Instead, brave the storm to approach them and ask them how they do what they do to get the results they are getting, and stop hating. Haven't you noticed that the people you hate are most times doing much, much better than you? Aha! When are you going to realize this so you can change? Not just change, but get a different result. Oh gosh, man, come on. You continue to hate on people that are doing better than you, and you continue to do worse, but yet you continue to hate. You see, there are stories of people who took this mindset of willingness to do what others will not do today in order to have what others will not have tomorrow. They took it to heart. You see, entrepreneurs who sacrificed comfort to build their businesses, what were they doing? Minding their own goddamn business. That's what they were doing. You see, athletes who trained relentlessly to achieve greatness. Our very own Kirani James. Everyday heroes like the odd student who found it necessary to work on the side to achieve his or her dreams. What sacrifices have you made or are you making today for a better tomorrow? Share your story in the comment section. Come on, folks, get ready to write. Share your story in the comment section. Believe it or not, folks, but small, consistent sacrifices, example, saving money, studying, or prioritizing health, can yield significant long-term rewards like achieving financial freedom, personal success, or health goals. As usual, I am here to inspire, to challenge, and to encourage you even more today on this first Sunday of this new year. I've got a question for you to think about. What are you willing to do today to create a better tomorrow? Answer that in the comment section, and let's see where your thoughts are about your future. Come on, folks. Let's have some interaction. What are you willing to do today in order to create a better tomorrow? Come on, answer that in the comment section. I must be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others will not have tomorrow. That's simple, but so profound. It's about effort. It's about persistence. It's about sacrifice. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone so that you can enjoy the rewards later. Rewards that most people might never reach because they aren't willing to make the sacrifices today. This mindset applies to so many areas, folks. Career, health, relationships, finances, you name it. And we've all been there, haven't we? Faced with the tough choices of whether to relax or push through, whether to spend or save, whether to dream big or stay in the safe zone. Today, we are going to dive into this area. We'll hear some incredible stories, share some practical tips, and encourage you to share your story about the sacrifices that you're making today to build your future. To get us started, let me tell you a story about someone who lived this quote. You might have heard of Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks. But did you know that he didn't grow up with much? Reality has it that Howard lived in a housing complex for the poor, and he worked hard to support himself. You see, when he discovered a small coffee shop in Seattle, Washington, he saw potential where others didn't. He believed in it so much that he risked everything, his time, his comfort, and even the little finances that he had. He borrowed on top of that, faced rejection after rejection, and kept going even when people told him he was crazy. But that perseverance paid off big for Howard Schultz. It is no accident that today Starbucks isn't just a coffee shop. It's a global symbol of passion, hard work, and vision. Schultz did the things others wouldn't do at that time, so he could live the life others might never have. A man like that is not to be envied at all. And that is the power of sacrifice. It's not always glamorous, and it's not always easy, but it's almost always worth it. So what about you? Are you making sacrifices today for your future? Maybe you're working late hours to grow your business, or if employed otherwise, to learn new things because you have your eyes on a supervisory or management position. Maybe you're even putting off luxuries to save for a big dream. Or maybe you've already achieved something incredible because of the effort that you've put in yesterday. It would be nice to hear from you folks. Comment here, or if your story is too long for this program here today, send yours to me in my inbox on any of the social media platforms, the messaging platforms. What are you willing to do today to create the life you want tomorrow? I'll be happy to share your responses once they are inspiring. Remember, if you are not prepared to make sacrifices today, you will never be able to enjoy great results tomorrow. Never mind who you see appearing to be making it without making sacrifices. Their success is always going to be short-lived. If we pay close attention, folks, we would realize that we all have been witnesses to catastrophic failures around us, whom we wondered about. Well, if they got what they ended up with properly, it would not have disappeared from them in plain sight. You see, when we work hard to achieve in life, it is like drogging water, our own water, which we will never spill a drop of carelessly. We all know what it is like to feel the weight of today's challenges, but imagine the reward of sticking with it. I am pleased to share some inspirational yet practical advice. Start small. Commit to one habit that contributes to long-term goals. Stay consistent, folks. Sacrifice comfort now for growth and more comfort tomorrow. Visualize success. Keep the end goal in mind. Remember, the pain of discipline today is far less than the pain of regret tomorrow. Ask Kirani James about that, as his growing up years must have been agonizing for him. But through discipline, and one must agree some serious sacrifices, Kirani Zeno James was able to sprint his way from abject poverty to world fame. Success tomorrow depends on the effort we put in today, whether it's working on a dream, learning a skill, or even simply staying committed. Your sacrifices now will shape your future. Folks, I must be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others will definitely not have tomorrow. Let's take a little break and we'll come back. You see where this program is going already.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks, wonderful. And welcome back. I suppose you realize that I have changed my theme music and we're just getting modern. What you find? It's important that we go forward with some new energy. It's working for me, folks. Come on. I want to share it with you. Get yourself up, man. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Another thing is I want you to change your language. Too many of you work to retire from. You must retire to. Use a different preposition, not from, to. In other words, whatever you're retiring from now, that's that chapter over. You ain't dead yet. So you retire to something else. You finish with that chapter. That phase is over. Keep moving. Go into something else that is age appropriate and suits your energy level as you go forward. But make yourself useful as long as you're alive. Folks, I alluded to this phrase. If you keep carrying old bricks, you will build the same house. And I feel duty bound to elaborate a little for you. You see, personal growth, which many among us seem allergic to, is a journey that often requires reflection, letting go, and rebuilding. Anybody who will go to the lengths to develop as many as 6 fake profiles has to be someone who is allergic to personal growth and don't know who they are. You see, this metaphor, if you keep carrying old bricks, you will build the same house, serves as a poignant reminder of this truth. It highlights how clinging to old habits, beliefs, and experiences can limit progress and perpetuate cycles that no longer serve us. You see, to create something new and meaningful in our lives, we must examine the bricks that we are carrying and determine whether they are worth keeping or not. So a warning to all of you, poor and vulnerable out there, whose ignorance and laziness Satan's grandson and his goons sought to take advantage of over the period 1995 to 2022 for the most part. All of you would do well to realize that if you keep carrying those old bricks of destitution, which that old nastiness made you believe was and still is your lot in life, you will live a life that is doomed to the poorhouse, even in an atmosphere where it has become fair game for all. You see, old bricks represent the destitute patterns and baggage that you accumulated over time, negative experiences, fears, grudges, and outdated beliefs. These are actually weighing you down, dictating your actions and even decisions. For instance, a person who has been betrayed in the past might carry the brick of mistrust, which could hinder them from forming healthy relationships. Similarly, someone who has faced failure might carry the brick of self-doubt, preventing them from taking risks or pursuing opportunities. A large swath of our population is certainly carrying the bricks of lies that have brainwashed them over an extended period, which has rendered them useless somewhat to our entire society. I say so without any fear of contradiction, as the proof is vulgarly perched all over. For who have eyes to see and ears to hear when they chatter all over, especially on social media, ventilating how unable and incapacitated they all are. You see, the danger lies in how those old bricks shape the foundation of so many of our people's very lives. You see, without awareness, loads of these said people are unconsciously attempting to build the same house over and over, a life filled with the same struggles, disappointments, limitations, with absolutely no change in the results that they crave. To break free from these cycles, we must first recognize the bricks we are carrying. This requires honest self-reflection. What beliefs do you hold about yourselves and even the world? Are these beliefs empowering or limiting? Are we holding on to past pain and fear that no longer serves us? By asking these questions, folks, we can identify the patterns that need to change. For example, someone who believes they are worthy of success may sabotage their own efforts without realizing it. Recognizing this belief allows them to challenge it, replacing it with a new, empowering mindset. You see, this process of introspection is akin to sorting through a pile of bricks, deciding which ones to discard and which ones to keep for the new structure. You see, letting go of old bricks is not easy. It often involves facing discomfort, confronting fears, and unlearning habits that feel familiar. However, it is a necessary step in creating new foundation, folks. Letting go might mean forgiving someone who hurt you, not necessarily forgetting or ignoring their transgressions, taking responsibility for past mistakes, or stepping out of your comfort zone to embrace new possibilities. You see, once the old bricks are discarded, rebuilding begins. Too few people have migrated from the old bricks of the past. Rebuilding ought to be a deliberate process of choosing new materials, positive habits, empowering beliefs, and constructive relationships that align with the life you want to create. After all, isn't the life of the past one of irrelevance to this present construct? Come on, folks. That life of the past is just irrelevant to now. It is an opportunity to design a personal house that reflects growth, resilience, and of course, hope. When we let go of old bricks, we gain the freedom to create something entirely different. This could mean pursuing a new career, forming healthier relationships, or simply approaching life with a renewed sense of purpose. Letting go of the old nastiness and his trickery. The key is to remain mindful of the choices that we make and the materials we use. You see, this transformation is not about forgetting the past, but about learning from it and sharing our experiences so others will not walk in that direction and discover similar disappointment. You see, We have to take stock, folks, recognizing how elements of the past anchored us in non-progressive, and that going forward will be choosing differently. You see, the lessons from old bricks can guide us to choose better ones. We now know not to choose Satan's grandson and anyone from his brigade, as they have placed us in too many goddamn problems in the past. We are all now more qualified to use those experiences of that old nastiness to make wiser decisions today and going forward into the future. So you see, if you keep carrying old bricks, you will build the same house. It's a call to action for anyone seeking change. It reminds us that growth requires letting go of what no longer serves us and consciously building something new. By reflecting on our patterns, releasing the weight of the past, and embracing new possibilities, we can break free from cycles of repetition and create a life that truly reflects our potential. You see, in the end, the house we build is a reflection of the materials we choose. Let us choose wisely and build a foundation that supports growth, joy, and fulfillment. But how important are priorities to our affirmative topic here today? I must be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others will not have tomorrow. You see, priorities are absolutely central to the original quote, as they determine what sacrifices we choose to make and why we make them. The quote implies that success isn't just about working hard. It is about working hard on the right things. Without clear priorities, we might spend time and energy on activities that don't lead to meaningful outcomes, defeating the purpose of making sacrifices today for tomorrow's success. So you need to clarify your purpose. Setting priorities helps identify what's truly important and aligns your efforts with your goals. If financial stability is a priority for you, you may choose to save rather than splurge. What about the efficient use of your time? Sacrifices only pay off when directed towards high-value activities. Priorities prevent distractions and ensure your energy is focused where it most matters. You see, studying for a professional exam instead of binge watching a television series could be a great example of making the sacrifice to use your time efficiently. How about avoiding burnout? Without priorities, you might try to do everything, leading to exhaustion without significant results. Priorities allow you to focus on fewer, more impactful tasks. What about consistency over time? Sacrifices must be sustainable, and prioritizing helps maintain that balance. Choosing to prioritize family time while working towards career goals ensures long-term satisfaction in both areas. So what do you have? Balance. I must be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others will not have tomorrow. Let's take a little break, folks, and we'll come back with some more, because we have a lot more where this has come from.
Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wunderbar. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. You know, folks, this is our 250th edition of Edification. No fake profiles. Everybody knows who's coming straight from the hip. And we're talking about the power of sacrifice today. Inspired by the affirmative theme, I must be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others will not have tomorrow. Here's the thing. Sacrifices are powerful, but they're only meaningful if you focus on the right things. That's where priorities come in. Without clear priorities, it is easy to get stuck in a cycle of being busy without actually making progress. So how do we set priorities effectively? Let me break it down for you with a few simple steps. First, think about the big picture. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in the long run? This could be financial stability, a healthier lifestyle, a successful career, or even a stronger relationship or stronger relationships. When you know your ultimate goals, it becomes easier to identify what activities deserve your time and energy. For example, if your big goal is to own a home in 5 years, saving money might become the top priority, even if it means cutting back on dining out or expensive vacations. You see, big goals can feel overwhelming. So the next step is to break them into smaller, manageable pieces. Let's say you want to switch careers. That's a big goal, right? Breaking it down might look like this: researching industries and roles, taking online courses to build new capacity and skills, networking with professionals in your desired field. You see, by tackling smaller steps one at a time, you make steady progress without feeling stuck. What about prioritizing your tasks with impact? Here's a tip. Not all tasks are created equal. So you have to ask yourself, what will make the biggest difference toward my goal right now? An example, if your goal is to improve your health, the high impact priorities might be planning balanced meals, exercising regularly, getting enough sleep. Other activities like finding the perfect workout outfit, or even reading up about endless diet plans might feel productive, but don't move the needle much at all. Focus on what really counts, folks. Importantly, we have to learn to say no. This one is tough for a lot of people, but it's critical. You need to learn to say no to things and people that don't align with your priorities. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, You're saying no to the things that truly matter. Protect your time and energy by being clear about your priorities. Folks, you need to review and adjust regularly. You see, life changes, and so do your priorities. Take time every month or so to review your progress and adjust as needed. Are you on track? Do you need to pivot? You see, by staying flexible, you can keep your efforts aligned with your ultimate goals. It would be nice to hear from you folks. What's your top priority right now? And how are you focusing on it? Share your short story, whatever story you have, in the comment section. Or if it is deemed too comprehensive, what should you do? Inbox me on either of the social media messaging platforms. Come on, folks. That's your assignment. Come on, let's do something. Let's become interactive. It is not just about, listening for entertainment purposes, but let's interact. Let's learn, because this is like a webinar you're exposed to right now. You see, one priority for this new year each and every one of us should have is that of normalizing leaving people exactly where they are. Start being reciprocal with your relationships. Make sure your relationships are healthy. That ought to be a priority, folks. In 2025, we are not begging, and we are not pleading, and we are not hoping that things are going to be different with folks who have told us and shown us they cannot meet us where we are. No more wasting your time in 2025. When you speak the truth, the only people that are going to be upset are those who see themselves in whatever it is that you are calling out. There are loads of moments in life when you are going to see the need to speak up, and they're going to be pushed back, don't get me wrong, for speaking the truth. People will place labels on you, false narratives, all to make themselves feel better. Historically speaking, if we take a serious look at a lot of people who spoke up on issues in society, what happened to them? They were not loved during that time. Look at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Look at Malcolm X. We all love them today, but during their time, they killed them both. It is important for you to understand this, because if you are the person about town that's speaking the truth and you start getting punished for it, just know you are not the problem. It's not you at all. People are just defending their ability to be toxic, and you are just doing what's right. To hell with who is offended and have to hide behind fake profiles to attack you. You see, the year 2025 is regarded as a 9 year. In numerology, the number 9 represents completion, transformation, and releasing what no longer serves you. It's the perfect time to align your subconscious with new beginnings. This is the year to let go of old patterns, partnerships, and clean the slate. Make space for growth and abundance. This is the time to reprogram your mind to align with transformative energy, because 2025 is pregnant with transformative energy. Can you feel it, folks? I like to tell it as it is. No mincing of words. No sugar coating. No beating about the bush. Go straight to the point. You see, the story is told of this young man working in a multinational corporation who, as he was passing by the office of another more senior colleague, he was called inside his office to be asked if he knows how to fix a computer problem that particular executive was having. The more junior colleague, of course, considered the problem bigger than both of them And so he told him in his blunt and frank manner, no, and walked back to his workspace. You see, no sooner than he had reached his workspace, the same senior executive crept up angrily behind him and said sternly, don't you ever try that nonsense again. When you are presented with a problem, especially in an environment like this, don't say no because it closes the door. Tell the person you will get back to him and be on your way to look for and find a solution. You will get all the help you need to navigate through the problem. The young man said it was a great learning moment for him because he first realized his stupidity. Then the second was that the executive cared enough to say something, as others would have looked away and leave the young man in his ignorance, wrapped up in his poor attitude. But the third learning experience for that young man was the executive did not give advice or suggestion. He gave him a stern warning. Would you say the young man is still blunt? Oh, yes. But wisdom demands that he deployed the right attitude for the right circumstance. So he knows when not to be. If you have an executive like that in your life, you better be darn grateful. And if you don't, become that for someone else. You see, do you know of anyone in your circle who may not have any money at all, but they have power? They know all the right people, directly or indirectly. They have connections. Your car breaks down and you're in an area where you know no one. If you call that person, they know someone in that area. In a few minutes, you will get a call and someone will come to rescue you. You have problems with the police, but guess what? The commissioner was that person's mother's classmate. So if you call them, they can get you out there. They can get you out of that problem right away. Even if your AC stops working in the hot months, they know a guy who can fix it at the best rate. You can't explain, but they seem to know everyone. Imagine, they don't have any money, but they're full of power. Isn't that interesting? You're wondering how many lives this person has lived. Yet, they are simple and unassuming. They don't drive the best cars. They don't live in the best houses. But they have the best connections. If you have such people in your lives, folks, don't lose them. And if you offend them, apologize early and quickly. More importantly, if you are such person, be careful who you share your number with. Why are so many people around us so negative all the time, folks? It is as if they do not know how to be positive. Conflict strategist, retired detective Ryan Dunlap advises, the truth is many people don't know how to be positive. We are mostly hardwired for negativity, something psychologists call a negativity bias, something I call we take the path of least resistance. It takes a lot of energy, folks, to be positive and absolutely none to be negative. So you see, if according to Brian Tracy or Jim Rohn, 80% of people around the world are lazy, you see, the path of least resistance will always be most attractive to them. We must make the effort to be positive. And most of us are deemed lazy when it comes to our feelings. We are far more likely to notice something to complain about than to celebrate. We lean more towards doubt than faith and far more familiar with pessimism than optimism. You don't have to just take my word for it. Just consider your own walk. In the past few weeks and months, you have been more negative than positive, haven't you? Despite all of the good things that you could be more focused on, Are you more focused on what's not working than what is? Of course you are. If your life has been dominated by fear, concern, and anxiety, despite multitude of blessings that you had, then this could be for you. The question is, how do you get better at feeling better? You see, you have to practice gratitude. Practice is the operative word here because positivity takes effort. You see, gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's present. And what is present for us right now, folks? If rain falls, we do not get wet. We have shelter. As little as whatever it is we may have had we had something to eat. Hello, you see? That's what's present. Not the more that we wish we had. No, the more we wished we had is absent. What is present is the little we have. Be grateful. So practice gratitude. You woke up this morning. Thank God you're above ground. So revel in loving the opportunity at being above ground once more. You see, itemize some things that you have that are worth celebrating, and do that daily until it rewires your bias. After all, your new season in 2025 requires a new mindset. Leave the negativity behind, because you will not need it where you are going if you really practice gratitude and positivity. I must be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others will not have tomorrow. Let's take a little break, folks, and we'll come right back with the final segment.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks, wonderful. And of course, for those of you just joining, I want to welcome you to this particular program. If you're coming for the first time, welcome. Don't let it be your last, because there's a lot of food for thought and food for development Mental multivitamins are shared here every Sunday at 2 o'clock. Of course, Grenada time. Wherever you are, you know what time it is there. So it's just a plumb pleasing pleasure to be with you every Sunday. And as long as God gives me health and strength, and of course, my marbles are still lining up, I shall be with you every Sunday, God willing. So, for those of you just joining, as I said, come on, share the live. We're into our final segment. This would be a bit of a stretch, but we're into our final segment. Folks, as 2024 came to a close, the very few places I went, to include the hardware store, the groceries, I would even say the bank, just walking the streets to and from my missions in and around the place, before gladly returning to my sanctuary to be with my loving dog, Tiffy. You know, I encountered several people who kept, it was so interesting. And remember, I always tell you, I pay attention. I am always aware. So I pay attention. I encountered several people who kept thanking me for what I do, thanking me for what I have done for them directly and indirectly over the years, thanking me for my brawn and frankness, thanking me for my consistency. And you know what? I was actually amazed at the handiwork of our universal God. We have to do what we do, folks, not for accolades, but for the love of it and the joy it brings to our soul purpose. SOUL. You see, there is one person in particular who God commanded me to give some time to, in a corner of one of the corporate environments in St. George's, a place that I have become allergic to. And every time I go in, I try to fly out because town is so congested. You see, truth be told, I never shy away from being polite and greeting people quite warmly as a reflection of my character. That's who I am. However, I stand firm within myself to avoid at all costs small unnecessary talk with anyone, to include on the subject of politics or other mundane areas of concern. And worse yet, if the conversation would pivot to use someone's personal affairs as the main subject. That will never happen. I avoid those completely. So it was not out of character for me to be hesitant to acquiesce to being pulled in a corner by this person for a quick word, as per the request of this particular person. Folks, this thing became very interesting, and from the word go, it was like confession time. The amount of forgiveness I was asked to deliver for how that particular person used to think of me over an extended period, only to reach to the point now of maturity where they can understand that with consistency, how correct I have been all along about my views on local politics and other current affairs matters. You see, they said at first they could not stand me, even though they could not avoid listening to me in order to renew their constant disgust for me. Their words. It's like a woman from Pomerose some years ago in the early part of my being on radio, an older woman. She actually called in my program on Spice Capital Radio. I could never forget that. That's a hallmark of my actual, experience on radio doing these programs. That woman called to say, I can't stand you, I just can't stand you. In other words, she wants to get it off her chest. Okay, so I'm listening. She said, but every time I know when it's time for you to come on, I just tell my grandson, go and put on the radio there. Let me hear what that fool have to say today. You get the message, folks? They can't avoid listening. You see, over time, That person said they did not realize that my consistency was chipping away at their views of me. And alas, they've reached to the point where they can truly appreciate where I have been coming from and still continue to prevail upon them with my pungent views on current affairs. The point that crowned it off for them was when I continued to speak gallantly of my standard of living and quality of life, which I have always been sure was better than a lot of people who criticize me for my views and don't like me because of all they hear about me. Another area that helped to turn it for them was when I confidently admonished people, as a matter of course, to be their authentic selves. Because the very same thing that some would not like them for would be the very same thing others would love them for. I had no clue that the few times I must have made reference to my high standard of living and quality of life, many, if not all of those lumpens who have had the worst things to say about me and who follow Satan's grandson religiously could never enjoy in this lifetime and probably a next. You see, that is why that old nastiness is more than correct to brand many of his supporters and followers, the haters of progressive people, poor and vulnerable. Could you imagine? With the old nastiness using the power of state to marginalize decent citizens like me because I could not reduce myself to support him. My standard of living and quality of life never diminished. God is really good, you know, folks. That is why today we will always hear and see me being grateful. God shares bread, never man. You see, the person told me that is what did it for them. As when they took stock, they realized that they haven't ever heard my name in anything untoward by way of dishonesty, except to be privy to the regular smut, as if to try to paint a rusty picture aimed at disfiguring the image others would have of me. When they also realize that I still prevail in spite of all that has been said, they were forced to take a second look. You see, that person told me they had 2 children who are today young adults who speak highly of me from a couple of their training and development experiences that they would have had with me at their various workplaces. And they said they had to do a double take. One of them told that parent that every time they call on me for an advice, I never fail them. The other one said, if it were not for me, they would not be pursuing or have pursued rather the first degree they championed at SGU and thinking of the masters today. You see, upon self-examination, they discovered that it was my pungent political views that were in opposition to theirs that caused them to build up the resentment for me over the years. And that was fertile enough ground for them to want to believe anything negative they heard about me. You see, this person's conversation, which I was hesitant to engage in at first, was God sent to actually convince me that I have been correct to embrace Plato's philosophy. When people speak ill of you, live so no one will believe them. And that is why I am so strong on my admonition to each and every one of you to embrace focus and gratitude in your lives. This is a new year. The year 2025 should be your year to embrace focus and gratitude. These qualities give you appetite and stamina to stay the course, to realize your dreams. Folks, the truth is, I became convinced that God was walking closely with me to end 2024 and to shore up my true purpose going forward. Would you believe that while walking Tiffy in my neighborhood, a vehicle stopped and the driver engaged me, asking me if I remembered him. At first, of course, I did not, and was honest enough to tell him so. He said he's glad to have the opportunity to wish me a happy new year and all that's good, to include good health and so on, because the progressive business track he is on today, my words of encouragement have placed him on that particular track way back in my earlier years on radio. I signed myself, folks. He said he called me and he told me back then that he wanted to launch off into business. And I actually told him, take the plunge and learn to swim after. For in this way, he will be building muscles and stamina to withstand anything that life throws at him. Over the years, those words stuck with him. And when challenges arose, and several did, he always recalled them and pressed on. At least one person for every day of last week of 2024 either reached out by message, phone call, or personally on the go with words of gratitude for the part I may have played in their lives over the years, whether directly or indirectly. Folks, I would have never known if they did not advise me. Be very careful who you play games with in the year 2025 and going forward. Everybody doesn't play games, folks. There are some of us out here who come with a hedge of protection around us. We live honestly. We live from a place of love. We live from a place of kindness. We are also very firm. And every door that we walk into, we make the place a better place just because of our presence. If you insist on playing games with that type of individual, once you lose them out of your life, once they come off that grip of the illusion that you have built for them, they will never return in your direction again. Their type of love, their type of kindness, their type of truth, their type of goodness, their type of frankness, they cannot be replicated. You will be now left to deal with the life you created without them. The life that is full of lies, the caressing and finessing of deceit. You are going to be left to deal with that multiplied times over. You see, when you come up against people with that level of hedge of protection around them, you will find it no different from running yourself into a brick wall. They may never say anything to you because they do not have to. God will always vindicate their name and their character. Remember what I told you? Character is who you are. Reputation is none of your goddamn business, because that's only what people think of you. That is why it's important that you be careful who you are playing these games with, folks. Most times, when you set out to play games, the person who rarely gets played ends up being you. Let's shift gear here as we really close off this program today. Why does Tropical Trump find it difficult to retire from active politics at close to 80 years and insist on plastering with black shoe polish in his hair, undersized shirts and pants, and making a nuisance of himself wherever he goes and whenever he opens his mouth? On Friday morning last, we woke up to the news that Trinidad and Tobago's 7th Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, announced his retirement from elective politics after 45 years in the trenches. Dr. Rowley was able to get 2 consecutive terms as Prime Minister and Prime Minister of our oil and natural gas rich neighbors to the south. He was born on October 24th, 1949, which made him 75 years on his last birthday. I recall him stating categorically on the announcement of victory at the polls in 2020 that this would be his last term, and he kept his word. He even plans to resign from the office of Prime Minister ahead of the next general election, constitutionally due by September-October 2025. You see, Grenada has had one such Prime Minister in our history to keep his word and resign on the anniversary of his first 5-year term, having promised his constituents that he will not be interested in returning after the completion of his first term in office. He was none other than the decent and integrity-induced Nicholas Alexander Brathwaite. Even his constituents were disappointed in him keeping his word, as they really felt he should have remained for at least another term. How many times the old nastiness, Tropical Trump, Satan's grandson, promised that the last term was his last. So much so, 2022, one for the road. It's becoming a nasty habit, just like his current name and established nature over time. And that is one other person, or one other reason rather, why I know I am correct to declare he ain't good and he ain't good long. Such an element will find it difficult to retire from active politics at close to 80 for several reasons, some of which are common among long-serving, despotic, and corrupt politicians. You see, their perceived deep connection to public service that only fools will believe of them. You see, having dedicated decades to leading and serving according to their Ratchefi style, stepping away could feel like leaving a lifelong area that offers protection against all the wrongs perpetrated against decent citizens during their extended tenure. For Tropical Trump, politics has been central to his identity and contrived legacy of turning a large swath of people into poor and destitute, with no skills and terrible attitudes guided by entitlement. What about unfinished selfish goals? Inferior despotic leaders often feel there is more they can achieve, as they were there long enough to develop no concept of enough when it comes to wealth accumulation on the backs of the people. What about influence and recognition? As one of the longest-serving Caribbean leaders, Satan's grandson has enjoyed significant influence and respect. Could you imagine that? Transitioning to a quieter life might feel like losing a key part of his relevance, rendering him status-starved indeed. That is why, without the office, he is stripped bare, and all he can dispense is lolly-drain rhetoric, showing him up as totally out of timing. What about a sense of responsibility to himself to remain in the limelight? You see, insecure leaders with extensive self-interest experience often feel an obligation to remain in the game under the guise of rescuing the country or party, particularly in times of their own uncertainty and the uncertainty of the organization they once led and still lead. Adaptation to a new phase of life. You see, at nearly 80, and by the time the next election comes around, that idiot will be 80. God sparing life, of course. It can be challenging to shift focus to personal or non-political interests after a career so deeply entwined with public misbehavior that gave him an opportunity to grab at self-benefits, plus surrounding himself with parasites who suck off his ill-gotten gains. That could never be helpful. You see, the old nastiness himself has acknowledged an enduring passion for politics, of course, because of the status and financial benefits, which likely makes retirement more complex emotionally and practically. But could it be also that he never prepared for this phase of his life? I want to believe so. Absolutely. You see, the difficulty this old fart might face in retiring could also stem from a lack of preparation for this phase of life. Many long-serving leaders of his inferior type become so absorbed in their political careers that they neglect to plan for life after politics. But here are some reasons this might apply. Single-minded focus on politics. If that idiot devoted, as he did, most of his time, energy, and identity to politics, with all the numerous people that he offended and oppressed over the years, he clearly had no time to actively envision or prepare for life outside of it, as he spent too much time plotting to deceive people to maintain power. Delayed transition planning. You see, without a clear plan for succession or alternative pursuits, transitioning out of active politics has been proving to be abrupt and unsettling. No clear post-political goals. You see, such inferior leaders like that old nastiness who haven't cultivated personal hobbies, interests, or roles outside of political gangsterism under the guise of public service may struggle to find purpose after stepping down. Emotional attachment. You see, after decades in the political spotlight, adjusting to a quieter, less influential life can be psychologically challenging. Having to look over his shoulder all the time at the possibility of reprisals from those whose lives he personally saw to it that he interfered with negatively during the period 1995 to 2022 for the most part. What about cultural or generational mindset? You see, in some cases, leaders of tropical Trump's ilk have a right to view retirement as a loss of relevance rather than an opportunity for a new chapter. If he didn't prepare for this phase, he might feel uncertain or reluctant about what comes next, especially since political life often provides a strong sense of purpose, structure, and social status. Transitioning smoothly often requires intentional planning, both professionally and personally, well before the end of a career. What a pity. Because you see, any one of you who feel that holding on seems to be further mangling his legacy, you are absolutely right. Leaders who fail to step aside at the right time risk overshadowing their accomplishments with perceptions of stubbornness, selfishness, or even an ability to adapt. So whether the PNM in Trinidad and Tobago is affected negatively or positively by Rowley's announcement of his end in politics, that is immaterial. What is important is that he kept his word, and for that alone, history will be kind to him. You see, the same cannot be said of the indecent parallel here in Grenada, that old nastiness. But I want to end today by inviting you to start this new year by saying these things to the Master. Attach yourself to gratitude, folks. So what should you do? Offer up a prayer of gratitude. Thank you, God, for all you carried us through this past year. The victories, the challenges, and the lessons. We are grateful for your faithfulness and grace that never fail. We should also offer up a prayer for cleansing. God, help us cleanse our lives of anything that no longer serves your purpose. Give us the wisdom to let go of clutter in our home, heart, and mind. Help us to sanitize ourselves from supporting devils who pose as good people. Help us to clean out our thoughts that help to cloud our choices and our judgment. Show us how to bless others with all that we no longer need. A prayer of guidance. God, we commit this new year into your hands. It's a year of energy. It's a year for the taking. And we are prepared to get out of it what we put in. So guide us with what we put into 2025. Align our goals with your will. Lead us in the right direction and use our lives for your glory. Bless this year and make it fruitful to your sight. God, we also pray that you guide Satan's grandson to come from the lally drain and stop his nonsense, so that we can have a nation that is not distracted by smut and gutter sniping, so that there will be no interference with our forward trajectory. I am certain that if you join me in starting this year with these prayers in your heart, you will return to tell of the wonders of your life going forward. Let us indeed, folks, be willing to do the things others will not do today in order to have the things others surely will not have tomorrow. I am in, I am out, and I'm gone. Thanks for joining. Continue to share. See you next week at the same time, God willing, same place, for more extraordinary programming. Until then, stay safe, stay well, remain vigilant, and stay lifted. Hey, don't forget, stay focused. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, no fake profiles. Just type in my name, Edward or Eddie Frederick. Subscribe, like, and share. And be prepared to receive your mental multivitamins as straight up as I deliver them. Folks, God is good all the time. Have a wonderful first solid working week of the year 2025. And I wish you continued blessings throughout the entire year and the rest of your lives. All the best.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This has been Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.